Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Very nice to meet you all. Thank you all for coming today. Inshallah, today we'll be speaking more about the interview work preparation. The purpose of this, inshallah, workshop/seminar is to address how you can go back to the job market to look for jobs, or interview, and whatsoever. So a lot of things we'll be talking about, inshallah, today. Before we start, I'd like just really briefly tell you where this is all coming from. Who am I? My name is Ihab Shadid. I work as an engineer at PayPal. I also been participating in the interview committee in most of the companies I worked with. And also, I'm a member of the Bay Area Muslim Professionals, BAM, in the Bay Area. And inshallah, I'll try to tell you all from my journey and my experience working with interviews, and we'll get to some details into that, inshallah, together. Let's quickly, the agenda for today. Sorry. So I think the blicker. Okay, here we go. Agenda for today, inshallah, we'll talk about why we're looking for jobs, what are the motives and goals. We'll speak in more details into this, inshallah. We'll talk about how you prepare your resume, how resume should be done, how to work with LinkedIn. We'll talk about if you don't have any experience, if you fresh graduate, if you're coming back to the job market from a long break, and all these kind of details. Inshallah, we'll interact and talk about it. And we'll talk about also making portfolio experiences and recruiters. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I was. Okay, perfect. And this is the first session, inshallah. And second session, inshallah, we'll talk about once you prepare yourself for the job market, what's the next step? Now, how are you going to actually go address interview preparation? How are you going to go look for a job? How you can increase, inshallah, your chances to find a job, and how that means to you. Of course, every situation is different than the other, so we'll get to some details. Inshallah, we'll have more questions from you to help you and to educate others, inshallah, to know about these type of situations. And once they get the point over there, these are the two main sessions, the first two. The third one session, inshallah, if we have time, we'll get to that session. And the purpose of that third one is I'm going to try to put you in the shoes of the interviewer. Like, let's say, what our interviewers look for when they interview people, and see if you can benefit from these tips and tricks, how you know how interviews look for. And of course, every industry and every situation is different, but there's a big, I would say 60-70% common ground for everybody. Then comes the smaller details, inshallah. This. All right. I apologize. I didn't start to introduce everyone and meet everyone, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll do that through the breaks, but just to get to start, inshallah, with the whole thing. So, why? The first question, inshallah, we ask when we look for a job is the big question is why. And if I go ask question now, why are you looking for a job? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of answers to this. And let's put this scenario. If I have one position, I'll just put in the market right now, and all of you applied for that job right now. I'm assuming it's going to be maybe 60, 70%, 80% maybe of your resumes kind of close to what this job description is. There's, of course, another extra 25, 20% where you're going to add more value. But the important 80% of your resume is going to reflect why, for this job description, basically. But if I ask each and every one of you why you're looking for this position right now, I assure you maybe 90% of your answers will be different. Okay? Because here's the situation. Why you're looking for a job and the motive and the goals will be different from each one. For example, a lot of people looking for a job because they want to get back to the job market. Some people look for a job because they're fresh graduates. They want to start their career. Some people want to improve. They're already established and they're now looking to improve. Some people don't care about all that. You just need insurance. right? Some people need benefits. Some people just need stocks. I don't care about the salary. I just need stocks. So a different perspective, different reasons to look for a job now is really key on reflecting on your profile and your resume into looking for a job. And why am I saying this? What does it mean? All right, let's see. Oh, this clicker keeps skipping fast for me. Okay. So question here, why are you in the market right now? You need to answer those questions with yourself first before you starting typing any letter into your resume. Putting all these questions to yourself, because once you write these down and try to answer all these questions, they will reflect immediately into your profile. And it's good because you need to send a message to the interviewers or the companies who are going to look at your profile to know what you're interested in, to know what are you looking for, to have an idea where do you fit in their values and in what they're offering for this type of positions. So we're talking about why are you in the market right now? What are you looking for exactly? What is the actual motive for you to look for this type of job? What's your ideal job? What are you looking? What is your ideal dream job or your dream position for this time being or this position? This is very important to be clear on why you're looking for a job right now, and your goals and motives should reflect into your resume, and they do really matters. Example: a lot of resumes we see, and I look at the resumes a lot, is I get a resume, and the first thing I see on top is the objectives, right? I'm an enthusiast, engineer, or medical student who want to look for a job and look everything, and you keep mentioning all these great, amazing objectives, and then when it gets to the skills and experience, it gets, it's like you give a huge paragraph in the top, and then things get really not really attractive or appealing to the interviewer down the road. Because excuse me, this is an issue when you write your resume, because the best thing to do is to look the answers for all these questions, and then when you put them into your profile, your introduction, you need to reflect all these details into your experience and into your job descriptions and activity that you're doing into every position that you worked with. I know I'm talking more general details right now, but more general information, but we'll get into details, inshallah, into those down the road, inshallah. Okay. So now, if we want to ask you out now and go, inshallah, and you prepare your resume, you put down your resume. I'm sure there are a lot of amazing resources online to help people to build resumes. A lot of great, and they're amazing resources to do. But those tools, excuse me, I'm going to speak a lot with the mask on. Is it okay to take down the mask here? Sorry. Okay, talking about, inshallah. Okay, here we go. Keep trying to breathe. All right, okay. So working with resumes, inshallah, and preparing resumes is very important to write in your resumes everything that present you and present your values, what your goals, looking for a job, and why are you in the market right now. And preparing that resume is not an easy job. Well, it's not very difficult, but it's not very simple as just go to a tool, build a resume, put your information, and you're done. So we'll get to some tips and tricks how you build your resume, inshallah, and how we reflect your profile and your experience into this building resume experience. Okay. I'm trying to, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to put together everything. I don't have my glasses on because of the mask, so. All right, this is better. Okay. Okay, resume preparation. Resume preparation is very important to say when you build your resume. Of course, there are a lot of resources out there, very useful to build your resume. But care about your resume size. And I'm sure you heard about this a lot from a lot of resources online. Is it better to have a resume big pages, small pages, 2 or 3 pages? Of course, different. A new graduate resume is way different than 10 years of experience, right? So they have a lot of things to offer. Why hold back? Why not put them there, even if it takes 10 pages? On the other hand, if you have 10 pages of resume, now it gets confusing and very hard to recruiters and to managers to skim through that resume. It is important to know that most of the people who scan your resume, they don't read all of it. They don't read all the resume, whether it's 1 page or 2 pages or 10 pages. The first thing we do, and this is what we do actually in our companies, the first thing we do is when we grab any resume, we skim through it really quickly, right? The longer it is, the less interest I am, okay? Because to me, I need to find something that catches my attention into your resume. So what you need to focus when you build your resume, put it together, is focus on the key things that you need to put into your resume to attract the recruiter or the hiring manager from the first glimpse, from the first going through. We'll talk about in details on this, what to put, inshallah, into this. But having this small bullet points, small headlines that actually represents yourself, represent what you're looking for in this resume, is a key to actually really increase the chances of hiring managers and recruiters to consider your profile as they go through it. So now, which means your resume size should not be very long. My personal preference, and it could differ from an industry to another and in profession to another, but my personal preference is 2 pages. It may go to 3 if you feel like really there are really key things you want to really present and show to the hiring manager, but I don't think it should go more than that. And if you have a lot of things to offer, that's why you need to use another profile website such as LinkedIn. So have more details into your LinkedIn. Fill your LinkedIn with a lot of amazing achievements. It's perfect. But when you present yourself to the hiring manager or recruiters, you may want to make it be brief. Take the keynote and the key paragraphs that you want to address and put it in your hard copy or the send to profile. I don't know if you worked with recruiters or hiring companies before. They always ask you to give them your resume so they can modify it and then send it to the position or the company. They don't ask you to send, or they don't just forward your resume as is. They never do that. They should not do that, even if they do it. Because I will talk about in details why they do that, what they do. But this is a key. They remove any extra information that is not needed, or it can be explained later into your LinkedIn or profile, and just focus on the keynotes that actually really this hiring or this company is interested in. We'll get to that point, inshallah, in other slides over here. Of course, be the obvious fit. This is very important when you write your resume. Make it very simple, both computer and human, to quickly connect and read it. Because a lot of small words, a lot of extra information, I know they represent a lot of your work. You worked so hard to build that information. You worked so hard to build that project and these technologies. But remember, when your resume is submitted, the first thing it does is an automated system read that resume and filter from thousands and hundreds of resumes. Those 100 or the last 50 are the ones going to be passed to the engineers or to the recruiters that they're going to read those resumes to filter them down to the hiring managers. So you may need to use keywords that are really important, really appealing for the human first glimpse when they look at it by their eyes, or for the system when they read that resume. We'll talk about some examples, inshallah, in a few minutes. Remember also one important thing. Whoever filters your resume, usually they're not highly experienced people or employees. Usually whoever gets the resumes, filter them down to pass them to hiring manager, They're either fresh graduates or junior HR engineer, HR employees who really don't have much experience of filtering your resumes the proper way and passing the proper profiles to the higher or senior HR people. So when you work with your resumes and you present them, you may need to tone down with your language and with your keywords. And we'll talk about those, inshallah, in a few slides. And also make sure you present only the key profile or key keywords or phrases for this job position or this position. And the most important thing also, remember your profile is not a tattoo. It's not a set in stone. I see so many people create resumes, and it's the same resume I've been using for 3 years. Everywhere. They just keep passing that resume over. I've already been working in the same company for 3 years. Nothing changed. I add more experience, but it's the same resume structure, same history. I worked in 3 companies before where it's the same history of these 3 companies. I never touch those. I keep updating the one I'm in right now. This is how the majority of engineering people do this. And then when I tell people, do you have an updated resume? They do, yes. They go update their current company work, and then they pass it to me, or to the hiring manager, or to the engineer. That's not going to work. This profile is going to get less and less interesting as you move it. You used to work on Fortran 10 years ago. That doesn't Fortran is relevant right now. You used to work on very old database 5, 6 years ago. Doesn't mean it's really relevant right now. So always keep in mind, as you pass your resumes to other recruiters or other companies, keep updating your resume and even the old ones. We'll get some tips on those and talk about them, inshallah. But treat every resume as it's something keep changing and developing and grow as you go through into your job hunt journey, inshallah. I'm going to take a pause. So any questions to this point, to what we talked about? Inshallah, I'll try to explain more. Okay. Jazakallahu khairan. All right, so resumes, hacks, and tricks that we want to use. All right, first thing, when you introduce yourself in your resume, make it short and simple and sweet. So name, number, for example, email. Just maybe the location where you look like Bay Area, San Jose, Folsom. That's enough. So make it very simple. Just when I open the resume when any hiring manager open the resume, the first thing they see, okay, name and location. That's what I look for. I don't look at your number or email. I just need it when I'm interested to come back to it. But to me, so I don't highlight the email. I don't highlight the phone number I see a lot of people put like big phone number and big email next to it. And why I need all that? I just need your name. Where are you located, for example? Like where you're based. Are you going to work remotely or not? Is it going to have a commute or not? So there's a quick glimpse of your resume when you look at it. Mirror your work experience to the job you're applying for. And that's the point I was talking about right now, a minute ago. Let's say you did work on certain technology for 3 years. You know exactly the goals of this technology. You're in the ins and outs about all this technology. You know how the work done, how the planning be done, how you deliver the goals and everything. When you apply to a job, to a new position, positions, of course, change. A lot of new description come in the market and then you know you're a very good fit for this position. However, the language you used to get your older position 3-4 years ago, it doesn't maybe apply to the same new job description that in the market right now. The language changed. Even though you know all of it, that doesn't mean what you have on your resume for 3 years now, it's going to work the same for this position. So the best thing you need to do is grab the actual job description that was given from the company to you. Look, every job description, most of the job description have about the company, the background about this position, the requirements, the main requirements of this position, and then bonus requirements, and then comes another more details on this. Those requirements are good to have. You knew your fit. So use these words into your current profile. For example, I used to work, for example, working on database administration. So I know everything about database. But then now in the new resume, they're talking about NoSQL, headless, or something like database, same thing. I know how to work on it. But in my 3 years old resume, I don't say all these information. All what I say, I know all the database, and then I mention extra, or I know MongoDB, or I know something else that is kind of relevant. No, we go change our word. Change your old resume profile to fit the new description that you're trying to, because in real life, you know all these things. You just never said them. You never wrote them in your resume. Because when the automation system look for resumes, when I want to submit for a job and look for resumes in our company, I put the job title, for example, software engineer. I put the keywords, and then I put the location. That's it. Now the system will go look for all the resumes. Those keywords will look for the job title and the location. So if you don't mention those keywords into your resume, it will not gonna come up in the search results for everyone. Even though you all know all of them, it's just you never updated your resume with the right wording and the right sentence and the buzzwords. So this is where it comes. The next one is highlight the buzzwords to use them. Buzzwords are very important here. For example, so are buzz verbs to use. For example, you accelerated something, you collaborated, I have notes here, like designed, enhanced. So these are buzzwords used in a lot of resumes. They're really appealing and will appear in the search results for the system. Also use adjectives, like you're proactive. So you have that word there. You are proactive, you have your detailed, prompt, smooth. All these keywords, buzzwords, inshallah, I will give you those slides with all more informations within your email after. But those buzzwords are really key to rank up your resume in the search engine or in the recruiters, and also really relevant to the next step. Speak in the hiring manager language, not your own. The hiring manager spend some time, write down the job description for this position. He already knew all the really things that he's interested in to add into this position or to include this position. Use these keywords that the hiring manager used and put them in your resume. Instead of saying, I am very excited, maybe you have it in your resume, I'm excited to work on something. Maybe the hiring manager said enthusiast. They use that, grab that and replace the one here. So grab from the job description the keywords or the phrases that used by the hiring manager to highlight your resume. Because what the system does before it filters is together read the job description, try to match keywords with resumes out there in the market to rank it up, to bring it to the hiring manager. So using that will, inshallah, will increase your chance to rank up your resume in the search results back to the hiring managers. Now, of course, there are many other things to talk about. I'll talk about some of them. So you have the accomplishment. Mention your accomplishment, how you reflect and articulate into what you've been doing. Be the job role, quantity where possible. So quantity is possible, not much to talk about here, but general, excuse me, here we go. All right. Be specific on for example, the quantity of time you did on jobs, what did you do, how much revenue you brought, right? How many projects you submitted, how many things you delivered, how many days you saved on the company. So mentioning those small things are really important. You know you worked on a project. You did the program project, you've been working on it for a year, you delivered a nice product or a nice service for someone, but then that's it, that's all you mentioned. Add more to that. We served this many people, this many customers. We delivered this much projects. We saved this much money. These numbers and small quantities are really key and nice to have in the resume to read. When I go, think about yourself when you look at the resume and go through it and look about, quickly glimpse through a job description. Those numbers will appeal immediately. Those quick quantities will just attract attention and eye. If you have just text, words stacked up, it may be lost and cannot catch the value of your profile. So have those quantities in there. Throwing them in there is like a stop point. It's like a milestones for someone who skimmed through your resume to stop and check them out as they go through them. Okay. Transparent, be transparent in dates. I see a lot of resumes where I've been working from this year to this year, and then another company where another year behind to the other year, and then another, and then 3 positions have to present. So it's kind of really confusing to the hiring manager and recruiter to track those days. And we had to sometimes call candidates and say, okay, can you explain, are you working 2 jobs? Or why is it this present and that one is present as well at the same time with 2 different times? So those times, frames are really important to be clear. And it's okay you have 2 jobs or 2 side projects and startup. It's okay. Just be clear as you mention them, right? Be clear as you mention present, and so don't raise a lot of questions. Too many questions for me to ask means I'm less interested to consider you, right? Unless I'm really desperate, I'm really looking in this position that I can't find people, then I may spend more time. But if I'm skimming through a lot of resumes, if I have a lot of questions, I just put it on the side. There are more clear resumes in front of me, and they already match what I'm looking for. Don't use paragraphs a lot. Use bullet points. Now, this step it's kind of work both ways. Sometimes it's good to use paragraphs. Sometimes it's good to use bullet points, but you need to know where to look for them, where to use them. When I write a resume, and then in any job, on any position history that I've been working on, I use bullet points to highlight what are the things I achieved in my company as I worked before, okay? But then when you mention each one of these bullet points, and each one, just don't mention 3 words and that's it. Elaborate more. Send the story, send the sentence, explain more, tell more about this. So use bullet points to highlight how many you did, but also use more words, more story to describe more. Don't just mention 3, 4 words, gotta tell, oh, I worked in database, Oracle, and that's it. No, explain more, have more details, because it really shine more light about your experience. And of course, as I mentioned, it gives you a chance to use the buzzwords existing in the job description. Now, instead of saying, I'm only working on this technology, now you can say, oh, I worked on this technology, and I used this, and I was this enthusiast, and I did that. And then, of course, within reason. Don't go creating a lot of things, just within reason. Keep simple language. Keep it simple as you're talking to your grandma. Because, as I mentioned, there's a machine who skims your profile first. That's 1. 2, then comes to maybe, I would say, a junior HR employee who is actually going to skim through the resume, don't have much experience. So the more complicated words and the more buzzwords that really shine but without any meaning or without purpose may throw them off or turn off the search. And then when it comes later with the hiring manager, they will actually be easy to understand and skim. If you have very simple language, it's easy for me to capture more information as I skim through the resume than have more complex details, right? If you read a story, right? Story, a very simple kid's story, even if you skim through it really quickly, you already catch 70, 80% of it. But complex one, you really have to focus, gotta understand what all these sentences mean and all these bullet points and information. So simpler language is way better to represent yourself as you build your resume. All right? So any questions here? I like to always pause, take questions, to kind of give you a chance to, if you want to know more information or have any questions or concerns. LinkedIn. All right. LinkedIn, very simple statement, been addressed by LinkedIn 2016, and been till today, it's very, very true. If you're not on LinkedIn, you pretty much don't exist in the search market or job market in this right now. And regardless of what your profession, medical field, computer, engineering, accounting, if you're not on LinkedIn, why LinkedIn specifically? Well, there are a lot of course, other platforms to look for jobs, but because LinkedIn is it's number one in the world, the most people are on it right now, it will increase the chances for you to find, to represent yourself and send your resumes online to people and target more people. So recruiters search for key skills and sets, as we mentioned before we talked about details. They search for specific information. And when they look in LinkedIn, they took the first 5 or 10, they appear. There are hundreds of thousands of people applying for jobs over there online, especially in this state, in Bay Area, and if you're in tech industry, if you're looking the resumes on LinkedIn, if you search, I mean, hundreds of thousands of results comes out. And then you need to be sure for this job position or for this search that you're trying to do, you want to be on the top 5 or 10. How you do that? As we talked about some tips and tricks right now. Put the keywords, put the things, look for the job description. All this you put together, it will increase the chance, inshallah, to actually appear in the first 5 or 10 for this position. Because as I mentioned in the recruiters on LinkedIn, they have 3 input fields to fill. The job title, keywords, location. If you address all these 3 into your resume, then immediately it will show a higher chance to put there. I've seen a lot of people who actually don't live here. They live in New York or Seattle. And they want to work in the Bay Area because now we work remotely and everything. They put on their resume, willing to work in San Jose Bay Area, in Santa Clara, intentionally they put the name. They can say, I can willing to relocate. It will not show the resume. But if they put the actual location they're interested for these positions, the system, as they skim through the resumes, your resume will come up because you mentioned you are willing to be in the location of San Jose, right? Instead of just saying, I'm willing to relocate in general. So these small things are really key to help increasing the chances of you to find the right job. Okay, now, turn on, of course, on LinkedIn, I am interested in to look for a job. In your options in LinkedIn, if you're familiar with LinkedIn, there is an option in your job search. You say, I am interested in new positions. If you put that check, then people will find you faster. I see a lot of people don't do that because they don't want the companies to know that their company know that they're looking for jobs. But they won't show unless you explicitly say that. So in order to present yourself to recruiters and hiring managers to find you online, there's an option on LinkedIn to actually check, say, I'm interested in other positions. And then it will try to push your profile higher in the rank in the search results for recruiters. Okay. We talked about this. It's kind of repeated here a little bit. The keywords, headlines, make yourself obvious fit. Make yourself obvious fit. This is what we talked about. You're looking for a specific position. There are job descriptions. All the informations you need to put you in that seat to the interview are existing there. They were written by the hiring manager. All we need to do is use those in your profile. Use those as you're looking for a job right now. Because they exist, you know them, but you're not mentioning them. So having them there, it will make you, put you in a higher position to be a great fit for this position. Excuse me. Of course, be more relevant. We talked about this. To be higher in the search. Last one here. Actively seeking opportunities. How many of you wrote this in their resume? I'm actively seeking opportunities and new jobs. None of you use that? Okay. This was on my profile for a very long time when I was looking for jobs like 5-10 years ago. Because it was the buzz sentence to say that time. LinkedIn was not 10 years ago like really high traffic. It was good. It was nice to use LinkedIn, but it wasn't like really high traffic. There were so many other websites out there to look for jobs. So we were really mentioning in our introduction for our resume, oh, I'm actively enthusiast engineers looking for opportunities and so on. And then we realized this sentence right here is really not good to use in our resumes. And we encourage everybody not to use it because it hurts, first of all, it hurts the keyword search engine, because search engine here, this is just taking more real estate for no reason on your resume. It will never be captured by any search engine in the job industry right now. Also, it will show you or present you as desperate to look for a job. Well, I'm looking for a job right now. So it will show you as desperate. It's nothing wrong for you to be looking for a job. You just need to put it in a different phrase, different perspective. Instead of saying I'm actively looking for a job right now, you can mention it where I'm in my experience, I know these many technologies, this many things, and I'm interested to learn more and study more and work more on and investigate more into building new technologies. In another way, you are saying you are looking for a job, but you're mentioning more keywords that actually make this sentence more meaningful to search engine, more meaningful for the system to pick up on your resume. All right. Now, when you submit your resume, let me ask some questions here. When you write your resume for the first time, trying to apply it and push it, what's your goal? What's your specific target for this resume when you say submit? If I ask you.
Looking for a better opportunity, better response.
Okay, but that's through your resume? So when you write the resume and send it to the recruiter, there's a goal in mind. Your end goal is to find a job, I understand. But this resume submission, what is the goal for it? Get an interview. What else? Get people attention. Your job in this resume, which is kind of fills, to get the phone call from the recruiter. With this resume, you're not going to get hired. You're not going to jump into interview call right away. You're not going to make an appointment. The first thing to do is to get the attention from the hiring manager and HR managers to call you first. You can sell yourself later in the interview. You can present more information later as you phone screening and interviews. But now in your resume, that's why we said you don't have to make it very long. You don't have to mention all your amazing achievements, 10 pages in your resume. Your resume is target of your resume is to get that phone call from the hiring manager or recruiter manager to call you and consider you in their search engine, in their search results. That's the target of the resume. That's the goal of the resume, not to get hired. Once they call you, then you can go to the next step. Now you can work on your phone screening. What's the target of your phone screening? We'll talk about that in a minute. Then we'll talk about what's the target for your interview and so on, right? So that's why in the beginning of the seminar we said, set your goals, not only while you're looking for a job, set your goals in every stage of your job hunting journey, right? Your resume is to get that phone call. When salespeople who sell cars or sell any other things, when they call the customers to pitch in their product or their cars or something, their goal is to get the customer to the dealer. I'm not trying to sell the car over the phone. I'm not trying to show you the car over the phone. My goal is to get you in. That's my goal. So all their conversations, all their keywords, all their questions target into get you in. Come on and see, come on and show. You know what I mean? Same thing comes to your resume. You're a salesperson trying to sell your experience to the hiring managers, to HR, and to recruiting agencies. So you have to mention that sale technique or that sale experience to them. So your resume should have, as mentioned, it kind of compiles everything we talked about so far, the keyword and buzz and this information in the short and the brief, to get to that point where people call you and invest time to actually get to know you more, right? Now you can jump to the next stage, okay? Now comes the next stage, which is cover letter. A lot of people I meet and I get their profile, they have no cover letter into their resume. And it depends on the position, but a lot of people who actually really actively looking for jobs and trying to, especially who fresh graduates and junior engineers or junior employees and people on break who want to go back to job, the cover letter is really great way to boost your chances to find a job or to land a job. Why? What does the cover letter do? Or how is it benefit for you? Well, cover letter here will, what to include in the cover letter? Well, you can your work experience. You can put a brief work experience. It's different than your resume. Because resume, we talked about, we said, you're going to put for example, you work in X company, and then you can list what you worked in that company, and you elaborate more story about each one of those. It's fine. But you can sum all that for each company. Each company you worked in, you can sum all that as one sentence, describes basically what you're doing here, right? What is your experience in this company, right? Or you study. Well, I've been studying for 3 or 4 years. Or we can put just few sentences. Those small sentences, you mention them into your cover letter. You send the cover letter. In the cover letter, you say, okay, short information about your information, but not any information, as we mentioned. You got to look for the job description. Pick from the job description the keywords or the key list that was mentioned, and address those into your information that you pass in the cover letter, right? So use how your work experience meets job requirements. Look at the job requirements and then see how your experience fits in there, okay? Have your skills meet the job description, because there's a experience and there's your personal skills, technical skills as you build into this. Why you want this organization? You have no clue how many times I interviewed people and I asked them, why are you interested to work here? And they don't know many information about our company or why they're here. Because their real focus is the job, the position, and the money, right? But why work in my company? I work at PayPal. Like, why are you coming here to PayPal? What do you know about PayPal? What do you know about our products? Right? They have no clue. They know just general idea. Well, in your cover letter, of course, we'll talk about this when you prepare the interview, is to mention at least a sentence or something that shows you are interested, why you're interested in this company, right? This is very important. This also be skimmed by the search engines, will show and buzz your resume up in the rank. Of course, what does the cover letter say? Tell a story about your career, right? Small sentence, small story, small paragraph. Don't sound like everybody else. This is a key, if you can do that, of course. If you speak your language and your mind, don't go look out there online for the same, everybody writing, how you write, I see a lot of people, how you write cover letter on Google, and they search and they copy and then they start switching words. No, read it, understand it, and then summarize it in your own words. Be yourself as you build it and present it to the hiring. But it now becomes unique, it becomes different than how everybody else say it out there, okay? Don't, of course, overuse phrases. It's very easy. As you go through samples and cover letter, you see so many words being used. Try to summarize, try to make them different way in that. There's, of course, these are general points, but they can be changed based on the position, based on profile, your history, and so on, of course. End with the call to action. When we write cover and letter, you want to end your paragraph. It's what's the next step, or what you hope in the next step from the hirer or from the recruiter to do. Like if you say, when we get together, when you call me, then we will discuss more details. I give sometimes information about my experience, but then I can say in the end, when you call me, then we'll discuss more details about that part, that part. So kind of give an action to the recruiter, okay, to pursue further, right? To come and take care of this and see what you can know more about you, okay? How to make your cover letter unique? Well, different from person to another. I cannot just give you exactly certain points how to make it unique because every position, every person is different. But you, in your own words, based on what you learned so far, you can maybe find a way to make your cover letter unique from what's out there. Okay? And this is a good thing to use. If you know the hiring manager or recruiter name as they contact you, mention that in the cover letter. It will make them feel you are really personalizing and really interested into them. It's not like a covering letter you're passing around to everyone. You're mentioning, hey, Mike, how you doing? This so and so and so. Now you feel, okay, now it's actually this for me. I'll spend more time to read and understand it instead of just a covering letter been written somehow. Okay? So this is really important. There's on Glassdoor, there's a nice cover letter template that's really useful and helpful. Teach you how to write those things and how you put call and action, the body paragraph, and so on, and sincerely. This is nice. There are a lot of other templates out there. If you like them, this is one I like myself, but you're free to use that. Okay? It's 6:05. I'm going to take a pause right here. If you have any questions what we talked so far.
Are you going to send that cover letter format in the link?
Yes, I'll send you these slides, all of them. Yeah, they will send to the email to everybody registered. I'll inshallah send them through the email.
The question is, your LinkedIn profile, you put all the details, right?
Yes.
So how much of information you need to put in there, that way it gets a broader coverage. The reason is resume is short, you're customizing it, but most of the recruiters are actually going to look at your LinkedIn profile and then they're going to contact you.
Yes.
Then are they expecting a customized resume, but how much can you tweak from the LinkedIn profile to the resume?
Okay. Good. So when I worked with the recruiter companies and we got resumes from, like we look at profile, we give results. We look at the LinkedIn profile. In your LinkedIn, put everything you have. Present yourself, because this is the platform where you're going to really sell yourself and tell everybody about who you are, what you can do, right? Because with all these keywords and all these information. But when I want to grab that profile, make a resume out of it, the first thing I do, I grab the job description. I look at the job description. What are the requirements? This. I look in your resume. Do I find these? I grab those. See, so when I pass this, let's say this position at Google want this information, then I grab those from your profile and I put them in a resume, smaller format resume, all right? And then I pass it to the hiring manager. But I'm applying for HP, maybe have different, it's the same position, there's different keywords, different requirements, different time frame and location, then I grab those from your profile. So in your LinkedIn, have everything, as much as you can. But then when you build the smaller resume, if the recruiter company will do it for you, this is what they're gonna do. Or you can be more professional than them and you do it yourself. Because remember, they've been trying to be trained how to do that. So they're going to grab only the sentences or the keywords from your profile that fits that job description. But yourself, if you do it yourself, where you're going to see the job description, grab the keywords that you're really interested in and matches the job description, but then you can add more to the story that sells you more and gives you that phone call from that hiring manager to you or consider you, right? Because they don't know you better than yourself, right? So you do it yourself. It's way better to have profile. So that's why a lot of hiring companies, they will ask you to give them a Word document, a Word format or PDF format of your resume. A lot of time, because we didn't know that at the beginning. When I wrote my profile on LinkedIn, so I don't have to keep sending a resume everywhere. Just go look for my profile. Everybody asks me, just look at my profile. This is not what they want. That to tell me who you are, but what can I send to the hiring manager? What can I send to this position? I cannot send all your profile. I need those sentences, those keywords. So that's customization if you do it. It's really going to rank your resume up to the hiring manager. As I mentioned, the hiring manager will skim through the resumes really quickly. I get resumes, Word documents everywhere from my manager, and I go through them. I just skim through them really quickly. I just scroll. Anything I see, okay, matches experience, then I put on the side to consider. If your resume don't appeal to me, those buzzwords and positions and descriptions and requirements don't appeal to me, it's gone, right? Even though you're the best out of all of them, I just didn't see that, right? As I went through your resume. Okay? Good? Yeah.
have is like companies generally look at how many years of experience, but they are probably interested in 5 to 10, or that's general number.
Depends on the position, yes.
But sometimes if you have too much experience, like you have been working, right?
Yes.
Your resume or your experience has been like too long in the LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
Will it favor you or will it work against you?
So tone it down. So here's, I've had this before on some candidates I got, where candidates been working for companies, IBM for 20 years or 15 years, and now they want to work at our company. And now they've been, and this is the thing, sometimes people would be working in a company for 10 years in the same position, or maybe 2 positions they moved forward, so not much to mention. And some people love to move around a lot inside the company. So the moment 10 years in the company, they have like a newsletter, right? It's in their resume. So that's when you need to tone down, reword, rephrase your resume. As I mentioned, what you worked on 10 years ago may not be relevant anymore. If you worked on Fortran 15 years ago, right? When they used to submit resumes over there, you used to mention, I did this on Fortran, I did that, this function, this technology, this system, this database. But nowadays, I just say, I just worked on Fortran. That's it, right? I don't have to keep that whole history in there because it's not relevant anymore. It's an old, expired technology. You can, as I mentioned, you get the chance to sell yourself later during the interview. Just have in your profile what gets you the call or the interview. See what I mean? But you need to mention what you know, but just don't dive deep into the unrelated or non-relevant information anymore, right? As you mentioned, too many information, rephrase them, re-summarize them, and then put them together into your profile, and then write them again, okay? And I mentioned this is not set in stone. Your resume should not be the same all the way in your experience, in your journey. This should be changed. You should revisit your resume, I would say annually, once a year, even if you're not looking for a job. Just tone it down. You learn something new. You learn the new buzzword. You learn the new thing. Just fix it. Add it there. Put it there in your resume, right there. You used to work on, let's say, I keep mentioning database because it's too much, same example. Let me mention something else. Let's say you work on front end, right? Front end engineer. You know HTML and CSS and all that stuff. Good. You mentioned all these details before. Now, in this company, you learn things new. You learn the new technologies. You learn the new things that you know about. You can add those to your history profile as well. I see people all the time, don't do that. I see old information from old company that worked 5 years ago, but then the same technology used now, we have a bunch of things mentioned on top, right? It's good to have them, it's good keywords, but now mix them. Just because you knew them before, you just never mentioned them. Now you learned you need to mention them because we improve as we go forward. Then put them there, put them in the old profile. Change it up, right? Have your resume more alive.
In the cover letter, you mentioned that we have to mention about your experience in 1 or 2 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a fresh graduate, as I don't have any experience, what type of cover letter we should include with our CV? Okay.
We will talk about it right now. We'll talk about no experience or no degree. What should we do, right? I really look for a job. I don't have any experience. I'm a fresh graduate, or I've been on a break for 6, 7 years, right? Like a mother didn't want to go back to work, or someone been traveling, or newly came here, been working for back home, and now we come here a different perspective. And how can we look for this type of, how can we appeal? Well, the first thing that you need to do is to sell, as we said, we're selling your experience. You said yourself, right? So you need to build your portfolio. Build what you know, what you learned, but in a professional way. I see a lot of people, students, when they first graduate, what do you know? To answer your question actually in a different way, if someone comes to you and tell you, okay, you graduate, what do you know? Right? What did you know? Because this is your experience during your study journey. That's an experience, right? You learn those languages, you learn this technology, you learn those information, but you just don't know how to present them yet. You just list them. They're like bullet points to you, what you learned. You need to kind of have a more story, more information. You build that project, you build those details, you This is what is your portfolio. But now, instead of talking about them, put them somewhere. This is just some sample of build portfolio websites out there, right? So these websites and many, many more, where you can go and build for yourself a portfolio, who you are, what you know, what you studied, what you're working on, what you're learning, what you're enthusiastic, what you love to learn, right? Where are you heading with your career? This is all experience. This is a resume in a different way, right? It's a portfolio. You're talking about yourself. So here, okay, yeah. So that mention, we'll talk about a little bit more about to answer your question on the cover letter in the slide after. But this is to help you appeal if you don't have experience yet, right? What can I do? Well, there are some sacrifices you have to make to get to a position where you need to work in the industry in a higher ranks later. For example, instead of putting all the weight, right, on your degree, instead of just keep mentioning about, I have this certificate and that degree, and I hear a lot of people, they keep going, especially we come, if you all, some of you are coming from overseas, right? The experience over there matters a lot. The certificates over there matters a lot than experience, right? A lot of hiring companies who work in Dubai or other overseas, like you go, oh, what do you know? What are your certificates, right? Based on your certificates, they will hire you over there, right? They don't care about experience because they assume is more certificates, better, higher rank you are anyway, right now. Where here in the States, it's really important to have this experience. Certificates is good to have, it's really powerful to help you, but it's not everything, right? It's your experience, what you know. We know, of course, we heard a lot of stories that a lot of people never finish high schools. And they're like CEOs and VPs in their companies, and they build that journey. They didn't just jump in. They actually really worked hard and studied and get to it because of experience. Here, you don't see that much back home when we're there. Like, have to have certificates, you have to learn, you have to have those things. So instead of putting all the weight on your degree, okay, put it on your journey as you learned and studied. So when you mentioned, as I'm a fresh graduate, I'm trying to build my covering letter or portfolio, well, mention what's your journey through your learning to certain technology or certain service or certain, like your power, your main experience. That journey matters. That's a story you need to mention. Small story about what you face, what you go through, right? And there are a lot of examples out there. Inshallah, we can share some information down with the forward slides, inshallah. Don't label yourself, okay? Here, people don't care about your degree and experience. I care about your performance and quality. Performance pays, and if you don't perform, see you later. Because working in companies right now, experience plays a big part in your journey and how you build and work with what you know right now. I know a lot of people who are not even graduated yet. They know a lot of front-end technologies, and they've done a lot of people working for the same industry for 5 or 10 years, right? Because they don't improve themselves. They know something, they work on it. The others are really trying to hustle and work and perform and submit. So that's really key in selling your experience and selling yourself to the hiring manager, okay? Work up, of course, the ladder. You may have to work for cheap or for free to get to the starting point. I can mention a small story on this. When I first came to this country, I was working at the car sales. I worked for car sales for a very long time. And then I got a chance to work as a data entry at Google, just filling data, just sitting there filling data over there. And I didn't mind looking up because I used to work as an internet manager in the car dealerships. But then because I wanted to pursue my career as an engineer, I wanted to go to work as a data entry with almost minimum wage, just to put my step into the industry. Now, after I left that company, I can mention in my profile I worked at Google, right? Now I can move forward. Or any other companies, of course, money out there. Startups are really good value. Big companies, of course, big core values, big value. There are a lot of companies have a great value. I just was fortunate to have worked there for a small period of time. But the idea here is to work these small steps where you fresh. This is especially for the people we're talking about. The section here is the experience of fresh graduates here, is work these small steps to get into the game, get your foot into the game, even if you have to work for internship or for free for a few months, or maybe cheap, just whatever they pay you, just to get to that point. It will pay you really well later. Okay? So here, more information. Go ahead.
Can you please include volunteer opportunities that you've been involved with?
Say again, sorry.
Can you include your volunteer activities that you were involved with?
Definitely. Oh, yes. That's why I said your journey matters, right? Your journey in your experience and career matters, right? Because you don't have experience, right? You're still a fresh graduate, and that's expected. That's fine. You want to learn. But then you learn on yourself. You show that you studied. You show that you're registered in these type of courses online to learn things. You show that your journey, I'm participating in this community center and this, I'm helping there and I'm participating in that. And put it all there. Because as I mentioned, it doesn't have to stay on your resume for a very long time, right? This is for you right now to get to this stage of your life, to get your call and your first hire. After 5 years from down the road, you remove all that. Done, right? Now you move to put more information. It's not the same information stay. As I mentioned, your resume keep evolving and changing, growing. Okay. Now here, some information, some tips to do the for without experience, right? So you can translate your experience. So instead of having experience, sorry, other way around. Translate your journey as an experience, right? So you have a journey, you have a learning points, you have a learning certificates or techniques you used all this time as you work in or study in the university or anything. Use that as your experience. Mention them in a different way. Put them as an experience for you because that's your experience. Experience is what you went through, whether it's a study environment or work environment. It's all experience. Just need to phrase them in the right way to put them there, out there to the hiring manager. Okay? Emphasize and promote your skills. We all have skills, right? You learn them in college, you have skills, when you work, you have skills, and so on. Just emphasize on all of these, right? And the most key thing to land on a job when you have no experience is that, networking. Number one reason people find jobs quicker and better is networking with others. Networking is key to find a job. And it's actually harder these days than before because everything's online right now. Everything is, you're kind of soft networking, right, with people. You have connect here, connect on LinkedIn and Facebook and all that. It's just networking, but technically, you just poking people and just put them on your radar. That's all it is, right? Networking really is to actually go out there and network in the group of people or group of professionals that actually matters for your career and your profession, right? Matters for your future over here. So that's why you need to attend to job fairs and go to network to any event that actually matters for your experience. Go find those, right? Or be around people who has those type of things, have those events out there. Networking is key right here. Okay, so talk to people in your around you that really have your same interest or same study, right? Attend events. Okay, create not any relationship, create authentic relationship with them. Keep in touch with them, right? Talk to them. There is a recruiter that I worked with, I would say 10 years ago, who's really good. I mean, he's really good. We didn't eventually get the job that he proposed me to go, which is fine. But then every year we talk, and he calls me and tell me if I'm ready to move on to next position or not. And we keep chatting about this. I keep in touch with my recruiters. I'm asking you, how many of you actually keep in touch with the recruiters that call you? I'm pretty sure a lot of you just block them. Then when they keep calling you, right? Just close the channel on them. And it's fine if they're really driving me crazy, right? It's justifiable. But having this connection, keep that connection with you. When you talk to the recruiters in your network, keeps you for yourself, keeps you aware that How are you desirable in the market and how people keep calling you? That's one. That keeps you motivated to keep looking for jobs or keep out there, learn more things. And second, you never know when is that call is going to change your life. You never know. And it happened a lot. So I personally, when I connect with recruiters, if they present to me really valid, good positions and really fits my profile, I'll chat with them about it. 5 minutes, and then we're done. And even if I'm not interested, I tell them from the beginning, I'm not interested right now. I'd love to know. Maybe I can pass it to someone I know in my community, on my network. Let me pass it on. Send me the information immediately. I don't block them. I don't do anything. Just send me information. Unless, of course, some of them, they're really annoying, and then you just block him. It's justifiable. It's fine to do that. But keep that connection, because growing your connection, your professional connection, is number one key for you to land your next gig, your next experience. Okay? Also, if you cannot get more connection, or let's say it this way, if you're good with the connection you have right now so far, you're still actively looking for it, help others connect. This is actually really good. A lot of people, you help others to connect and then end up benefiting you because of people connecting through them to you, right? So helping others connect is really good to help. This is really helpful and very powerful for the fresh graduates and people with no experience, because this is where they get you to the jobs or the positions that actually really could change or could move you forward in your career. Because if you do it on your own, you have to keep selling and presenting and proving yourself. When you connect and network, some of that burden goes off your shoulders for others to chime for you, to actually push you in, right? Because now there's a connection, there's an authentic connection with them. It's not like someone I know. It's someone I know. I've been changing emails, I've been working, we will look at our work and experiences, and I can tell you, he's good, right? You have no clue how many times I get referrals in my company, resumes. They're fresh graduates, but the information they share with me about them and about their projects and their work and their study and actually really valuable. And I look at the resume that presented from that person, he never mentioned that. That person who submitted the resume to me does not mention all his information. He mentioned, I worked in this technology, that technology, but his friend told me about his work until I checked it out and I see it, and now I get more value. So the connection here is really valuable for you. Okay? Okay? And, okay, go back to school if you must. It depends. A lot of people work in an environment they're not really comfortable with. They just want to work there. But then if to land your next job or your next career, move forward with someone with no experience, if you have to go back to school and find that small technology that you can learn, well, back then it's to go to school. Nowadays, they're more like Zoom and seminars and online tutorials. That's really helpful. It's the same thing. It's just go learn something that's actually going to land you where you are. What you graduated with is not, I would say it's going to be a high percentage to hire you in the companies, right? You need to learn and study more things. Okay. And ask feedback. Your network and the people you connect with, you're going to mess up a lot, and it's fine. But ask for the feedback and learn from them, always. A lot of people, especially in the ladies, actually it happens, is like they're shy, and they go to interview, and then, or on the phone, and they know that they didn't do well. I mean, they just didn't do really well. And that's it. And they just hang up and then go look for other things. But asking for feedback and get to know what you did not do well in, then that will teach you more and help you more, especially with the fresh graduates and your experience, is to build your experience, build your confidence, right? And there's a section later on in this slide where we're going to talk about this more. Okay? Okay, we'll take a break in a few minutes. Just want to finish. Okay, good. So after, and then we'll take a break. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is more information. I'll be sharing those slides with you. I'm not going to be talking much about these, but become a linchpin, which is become someone, if you go and practice or work or maybe internship or work for free somewhere, now you need to build the value. So remember, your journey is milestones, right? First step is to actually land that job. Whether you did it as a fresh graduate as no salary or very minimum, or you actually did but as an introduction to your career. Once you get to that point, now make sure you present yourself with your skills to become someone that really people look for you, or they really love for you to stay there, right? It's easy said than done. I understand that, but it depends on your experience and your work in the company or in the work in the work environment. So make sure you show them like how you have the hunger to learn, how you want to you really value the company values, and then how you work with them. Because inside you should be, as you work if they are in that location, in that position, that company, you should be there because that company is the one going to be raising you up, even if you're not planning to stay there for a long time. If you okay, I'm going to stay here for 1 year and then I'm leaving. Make sure that 1 year really counts for you. When you leave somewhere else, it becomes the milestone to the next step for you. I know a lot of people who worked in companies as internship or junior engineer or junior person who just live there, just do the job day to day. That's it. And then when they left the company, they just have some job description. Okay, I worked on these items. That's it. So now what they see is the next position, what they're going to do. Okay, so if you keep looking there, where the next position is the one you're really interested in, that's the focus of your career, your current position becomes irrelevant now. Your current position means you're not going to spend time to put more information, more effort into this. The right way to do it is to put more information, more effort into your current position to really, when you get references to, we go to the next position, now you can easily and comfortably put everybody you worked with as references for you, because everybody knows your value now. Everybody knows who you are. Even though you're really planning to leave and they know, at least they will mention you in the right and positive way for the next career position. Okay? Because, by the way, this is true. Headhunters keep going and talk about you and ask about you in the companies you were there. A lot of them, if you go apply for jobs with headhunters, if you worked in a company, they will ask about you. I've seen students give me references of their professors in university to actually chime for them and tell me how did they do as they study the subject in the class. And that's really great. That's really great to have even your professors. A lot of people don't do that, actually. So I'm a fresh graduate, I want to learn and all of that. Well, what did you learn? What did you do? What are certificates? They count, a lot of fresh graduates, they count about their certificates. They go to online courses trying to find something that can give them certificate, and then they mention that in their resume and they send it to us, right? But as I mentioned, certificate is good to have, is what you know, what you learned, what's your journey. I need to know your journey as you learned it. So mentioning your professors, the people that actually taught you and got you to this point, is really helpful for me to know what you went through, what you came to this position right now. Headhunters, as I mentioned, they go around and talk about people from other companies that are not happy, or really they're the linchpin of their positions. Elon Musk, when he started Tesla, right? He went to Google engineers and took all the Google engineers who built the self-driving cars. The self-driving car was Google. Remember the first one that came out with it goes around? That was the first one before Tesla. Elon Musk went and hired all these people in his company. So now those people are the linchpin of their position, their company, right? So being that person or in that group could change your life or could move you forward in your career. Even in your current position, you're not planning to stay there for very long. It could be your door to the next step. Okay? This is the last slide before the break. Actually, there's not much. This is where you can look for opportunities online right now, where you can present yourself, whether you're a fresh graduate or you want to present your work. You want to, if your position or your profession in art, where you can put all your art or profile. If your position in accounting, you can put your algorithms and work and history over there. If you're, of course, in engineering, your projects, your code, and everything. These are a lot of platforms out there to use. Some of them here, like AngelList, the Gus, of course, LinkedIn, TechCrunch, and so on. Okay. Now, also another good tip to find good company to work with or to start with, you can look online for seed round funding companies. If you go look online, seed round funding companies, those companies are new companies who are looking to fund, and they want to hire people, right, as many as they can achieve their projects, and they cannot pay much because they're looking for funding, right? This could be the door for you to step into your career and in your positions right now, right? A lot of people love to look for those right there. I just need a company who's looking for funding, and they really need to hire and to get the work done, because at this point, they want you to do a small piece of the code, because these small funding companies looking to increase more employees numbers, right? They can give a position to one professional person that does the whole thing and get paid very high salary, or they can split it into 3 positions, grab it to 3 people, each one do a part in small hire until they get the funding, right? So that's what a lot of companies does. So those are really good doors, like opening for people, especially fresh graduates and no experience, to actually go look and get hired over there. You can see right now in the industry, if you search online, a lot of people who are fresh graduates, most of them start in startups. Right, to go small companies and start up on non-public companies or private companies, or right, because these are the ones that are hiring right now. These are the ones that actually really looking for fresh, enthusiast students who really want to stay with them and build their company with them, right? Okay. Of course, investigate about the companies that you go look around. What other companies hiring for internship? Okay, and yeah, and as I mentioned, show up, learn, absorb as many information as you can, and then it will open the door to the next step for you. Okay? Inshallah, we'll stop here for a break to relax. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Okay? Inshallah. Let's take a break. You want to stop streaming?